FlashMate's going, you can rest assured pretty well that she's definitely in season, because they don't flash if they're not. So this is our 15th season here. We're 50-50 share milkers. Prior to that we did 10 years share milking at Uranui, and then prior to that about 14-15 years of managing and farm working. I was an AV technician with LIC for 17 or 18 years, and when you were AIing cows and you'd look at the tail paint and you'd be trying to inseminate this cow, and you'd ask the farmer, you sure you saw this cow bulling? And oh well, yeah, well the paint's a bit rubbed, and I'll say this much for the FlashMates, that you don't get that is she or isn't she. She either is or she's not. If the flash is not going, she's not bulling. So, and yeah, we've over the 4 or 5 years we've been using them, we've certainly got to that point now that we rely on them with a fair amount of accuracy. I use quite a bit of sex semen, and it means that I can judge the heat length with a lot more certainty, and mate those cows at a later time, rather than just relying on the first observation of seeing them bulling or seeing tail paint or scratches rubbed up. So, if we've got maybe one of the grandkids helping us, or relief milker, but as I say, the reliability of them has meant that they can, as long as they can see them flashing, they can tell me that she was in season, sort of thing, and at least I know, for argument's sake, while I'm away for a night milking, that the next morning look out for those cows, and because the FlashMate is still, she's been in season, it'll be flashing continuous for X number of hours. Well, you can pretty much guarantee that you can find them. So, yeah, it does give you a bit of flexibility. Whereas if you were relying on tail paint, for argument's sake, and somebody had seen them and thought, oh, maybe it looks like it's a bit rubbed. Well, I don't see that as having the same sort of flexibility or the same sort of reliability. So, well, we're into 6 weeks through AB now, and we haven't put any bulls out yet at all. We just carried on with AB, and I guess for us that's testament of using these FlashMates. It takes this time of the year, you're usually starting to get a bit sick of AB, and is she or isn't she? Is that paint rubbed or not not rubbed? At least with the FlashMate still on, she either is or she isn't. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of these later cycling ones, and they generally tend to be a little shy when there's only 1 or 2 of them on at a time. So yeah, I've been using FlashMate now for 5 seasons. The first 2 years we only had them on our 2-year-olds and a handful of cows that were under contract mating option with AB companies. So as I say, we were probably only doing 50 or 60 animals in those first 2 seasons. Since then we've progressed over to doing the whole herd. 4 or 5 years ago when we first went to FlashMates, it's a new product, and you had to build some confidence in it. So first to admit that I started going back at night. I'd go down, wash the bat, and then go back to the paddock at night after tea to walk through the paddock and observe cows. And I guess the ones you're really looking for are those timid or young cows that are hanging around with a group, but they're not actually physically riding. And in the first couple of seasons, we only had them on the FlashMates on our 2-year-olds, because we felt they were for us, the problem group. Making sure that you pick them all up. And of course, you'd walk around, you'd see them hanging around, and you'd sort of make a note on my hand, and 9 times out of 10 the next morning, when we were milking, the wife would be singing out, oh, so-and-so's bulling this morning, and I'd check my list that I had, and they were heifers that weren't physically or actively riding, but they were showing interest in hanging around. And over the next 5 or 6 weeks, that first mating with the FlashMates, yeah, you certainly gain some confidence in the product very quickly. It took a few days to, to fully convince ourselves that looks like these things are going to work. They're doing what we were told they would do.